Hello, my friend. Welcome to English Daily Progress. Today, I want to share a story that might make you uncomfortable. It might make you think about your own life in a new way. But sometimes, discomfort is exactly what we need to wake up. This is the story of James, a man who worked hard every day, who followed all the rules, who did everything he was supposed to do, and yet he felt like a prisoner. You see, James discovered something that most people never realize. He discovered that freedom is not about where you live, it's about how you live. So take a deep breath, open your mind, and let me tell you about the day James woke up from a very long sleep. Chapter 1. The Morning Routine. The alarm clock screamed at 6:30 a.m. James opened his eyes. For a moment, he didn't know where he was. Then reality hit him. Monday. Another week. Another 5 days of the same routine. He dragged himself out of bed. His body was tired, even though he had just woken up. He walked to the bathroom like a zombie. Shower. Shave. Get dressed in the same gray suit he wore every Monday. Grab coffee. No time for breakfast. Rush to the train station. The train was packed with people. Everyone looked the same. Tired faces. Empty eyes. Silent mouths. They all looked like they were going to prison, not to work. James squeezed into the train. Standing room only. He held on to the metal pole and looked around. Everyone was staring at their phones, escaping into a digital world, avoiding eye contact, avoiding reality. The train moved through the city. James saw the sunrise through the window. It was beautiful, but he felt nothing. He arrived at his office building at 8:45 a.m., right on time. Always on time. He walked through the glass doors, scanned his employee card. The system beeped. Access granted. He took the elevator to the 7th floor. The office was already half full, rows and rows of desks. Hundreds of people, all sitting in small boxes, all staring at computer screens. James sat down at his desk, turned on his computer, checked his emails. 47 new messages. He sighed. Another day had begun. Chapter 2. The Cage. James was 32 years old. He had been working at this company for 8 years. 8 years of his life. He was good at his job. He analyzed data, created reports, attended meetings. His boss said he was valuable. His colleagues respected him. He had a decent salary. Enough to pay rent, buy food, maybe save a little. On paper, his life looked fine. But inside, James felt empty. He felt like something was missing. Like he was living someone else's life. Every day was the same. Wake up, train, work, train, home, eat, watch TV, sleep, repeat. 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, for 8 years. That's 2,000 days of the same routine. 2,000 days that blurred together into one gray memory. Sometimes James would think about his dreams. When he was younger, he wanted to be a photographer. He loved capturing moments, telling stories through images. But photography didn't pay well. It wasn't stable. It wasn't safe. So he studied business, got a practical degree, found a practical job, became a practical person. And his dreams? They slowly died. Or maybe they didn't die. Maybe they just fell asleep, waiting, hoping that one day James would remember them. Chapter 3. The Awakening. It was a Wednesday, middle of the week, middle of the month, middle of everything. James was in another meeting. His manager was talking about quarterly targets, growth percentages, market optimization, strategic initiatives. James nodded at the right moments, said yes when expected, but his mind was somewhere else. He was looking out the window, at the sky, at the birds flying freely, and suddenly a thought entered his mind, a dangerous thought. What am I doing here? The thought grew louder. Why am I spending my life in this room? Listening to words that don't matter, doing work that doesn't fulfill me, living a life that doesn't feel like mine. His heart started beating faster, not from excitement, from fear. The fear of realizing something you can't unrealize. The meeting ended. James walked back to his desk, but he couldn't focus. The thought wouldn't leave him alone. He looked around the office, really looked. He saw his colleague, Sarah, 45 years old, 20 years at the company, still sitting at the same desk, still doing the same work, still waiting for the weekend. He saw Michael, 55 years old, 30 years at the company, gray hair, tired eyes, counting down the years until retirement, until he could finally be free, finally live his life. At 65. James did the math. He was 32. If he stayed here until retirement, that was 33 more years. 33 years. 12,000 more days. 288,000 more hours in this office. In this cage. His chest felt tight. He couldn't breathe. He stood up, walked to the bathroom, locked himself in a stall, and for the first time in years, he cried. Not because something bad happened, but because he finally saw the truth. He was a slave, not with chains, not with a master holding a whip, but a slave nonetheless. A slave to a system, a slave to a routine, a slave to fear. Fear of not having money, fear of not being secure, fear of taking a risk, fear of living.
Chapter 4. The Research. That night, James couldn't sleep. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind was racing. He grabbed his phone and started searching. How to escape 9 to 5. Financial freedom, alternative lifestyles, people who quit their jobs. He found stories, hundreds of them, people who left corporate jobs, people who started their own businesses, people who traveled the world while working online, people who chose freedom over security. At first, he felt hopeful. If they can do it, maybe I can too. But then the fear came back. But what if I fail? What if I run out of money? What if I lose everything? The voices in his head were loud. The voices of his parents. Get a stable job. The voices of society. Work hard, climb the ladder, retire. The voices of fear. Stay safe, don't risk, don't try. But there was another voice, a quieter voice. His own voice. The voice he had ignored for years. You're dying slowly. This is not living. You have one life, one chance. Don't waste it. James spent the entire night reading, learning, thinking. By morning, something had changed. He was still scared, but he was also decided. He was going to escape. Not tomorrow, Not someday, now. Chapter 5, The Plan. James didn't quit his job the next day. That would be stupid. Instead, he made a plan. A real plan. He calculated his expenses, how much money he needed to survive. He looked at his savings. He had enough for 6 months. Maybe 8 if he was careful. He started a side project. Photography, his old dream. He created a website, offered his services, weddings, portraits, events. After work, instead of watching TV, he edited photos, built his portfolio, learned marketing. On weekends, he took jobs. Small ones at first. A birthday party, a couple's photo shoot, a local business event. The money wasn't much, but that wasn't the point. He was building something that was his. Not his boss's, not his company's. His. 3 months passed, then 6 months. James was exhausted, working 2 jobs. His full-time job during the day, his dream during the nights and weekends. But he felt alive. For the first time in years, he felt alive. His photography business was growing, slowly but steadily. He was making about half of his salary now. Not enough to quit, but enough to hope. Chapter 6, The Jump. 1 year after his awakening, James walked into his manager's office. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. "I need to talk to you." His manager looked up. "Sure, James, sit down." James sat, took a deep breath. "I'm resigning." Silence. His manager's face showed surprise, then confusion, then something else. Disappointment, maybe even anger. "What? Why? I thought you were happy here." "I was never happy here." James said it, finally, out loud. "I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I need to live my own life. I need to try." His manager tried to convince him. "We can give you a raise, a promotion, more responsibilities." But James just smiled. "More money won't make me free. More titles won't make me fulfilled. I need to go." 2 weeks later, James walked out of the office building for the last time. He didn't feel relief. He felt terror. No more salary, no more security, no more safety net. Just him, his camera, and his dream.
Chapter 7, The Struggle. The first 3 months were hell. James lived off his savings. Every expense felt heavy. Every bill felt dangerous. What have I done? He thought this 100 times. His photography business was growing, but not fast enough. Some months were good. Some months were terrible. He learned what real work meant. In the corporate job, he worked for someone else. Now he worked for himself. And working for yourself is harder, much harder, because there's no one to blame, no one to hide behind, just you. Your decisions, your results. There were moments of doubt, moments when he almost gave up, almost went back to send his resume, almost returned to the cage. But then he remembered that feeling in the office, that emptiness, that slow death. And he knew he could never go back. He would rather struggle as a free man than be comfortable as a slave. Chapter 8, The Breakthrough. Month 7, something clicked. A client loved James's work, recommended him to a friend, who recommended him to another friend. Suddenly, James was fully booked, every weekend, some weekdays. The money was coming in, not just enough to survive, enough to live. But more importantly, James was happy, really happy. He woke up excited, not dreading the day, not counting hours until Friday, but actually excited to work, because it wasn't work, it was his passion. He met people, real people, not colleagues, not clients, but human beings. He captured their joy, their love, their important moments. And he was part of those moments. He mattered. Not as employee number 247, but as James, the photographer, the artist, the free man. Chapter 9. The New Life. 2 years after quitting, James's life was completely different. He worked less hours, but earned more money. He worked on his own schedule. Morning person, so he started at 7 a.m., finished by 3 p.m. The rest of the day was his. He traveled, not just 2 weeks vacation per year, but whenever he wanted. He took his camera and explored new cities, met new people, lived. He had relationships, real ones. Before, he was too tired for relationships, too stressed, too empty. But now he had energy, he had joy, he had something to give. His old colleagues sometimes messaged him. "How's unemployment?" they joked. But James heard the jealousy, the regret, the what if in their voices. Some of them asked for advice. "How did you do it? I want to leave too, but I'm scared." James understood. He was scared too. He still was sometimes. But he learned something. Fear never goes away. You just learn to act despite it. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the presence of fear. Chapter 10. The Freedom. James was 35 now, 3 years since he escaped the cage. He sat in a small cafe, editing photos on his laptop. The sun was shining, jazz music was playing. He had nowhere to be, no meetings, no deadlines, no boss. He was free. Not rich, not famous, not powerful, but free. And freedom, he realized, is not about having everything. It's about needing nothing. It's not about escaping work. It's about choosing your work. It's not about running away. It's about running towards something. He thought about his old life, the office, the routine, the cage. He didn't hate it anymore. He understood it now. Society creates a system. The system needs workers, so it teaches us from childhood. Go to school, get good grades, go to university, get a job, work hard, climb the ladder, retire, then live. But James learned the truth. That's not living. That's waiting to live. That's dying slowly, postponing life until you're too old to enjoy it. The system is not evil. It's just a system. And systems need components. But you don't have to be a component. You can choose. Not everyone can leave their job. James knew that. Some people have families to feed, debts to pay, responsibilities. But everyone can start. Start something small, something that's theirs. Plant a seed. Even if it takes years to grow, at least you planted it. At least you tried. Because the saddest thing in life is not failure. It's never trying. It's dying with your dreams still inside you, wondering, what if? James closed his laptop, paid for his coffee, walked outside. The city was busy, people rushing everywhere, to offices, to meetings, to cages. He didn't judge them. He was one of them once. But he understood something now. The cage is not metal. It's made of fear. Fear of insecurity. Fear of judgment. Fear of failure. And the key to the cage is not somewhere outside. It's inside you. It always was. So the question is not, can I escape? The question is, when will I stop making excuses and finally turn the key? Thank you for watching this story. If it made you think, if it made you question, if it made you uncomfortable, good, because comfort is the enemy of growth. Subscribe to English Daily Progress for more stories that challenge you, that inspire you, that wake you up. Leave a comment and tell me, are you James in the office? Or James who escaped? Or James who's planning his escape? I read every comment. Remember, your life is happening now. Not after retirement, not someday, now. What are you going to do with it? See you in the next video. Stay free.